Welcome to my channel. Here's the thing. How is it that you can understand English, but you can't speak it fluently? Do you freeze when someone asks you an easy question in English? You know the words, you know the grammar, but nothing comes out. That's not your fault. There's no such thing as a belly brain or heart brain. Actually, your brain is in your body. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to fix it. Leave me a comment below. What's the single biggest challenge that you have when speaking English? Chapter 1. Why speaking feels so hard. It's not just you. I know what it's like to be quiet in the mouth and loud in the brain. You have what you want to say, but the words just aren't getting through. You pause, you freeze, you feel nervous, your heart beats fast, you're thinking that you forgot everything, and in that moment you think, maybe I can't do this, maybe I'll never talk in English. But I'll tell you, there's a story there. It's not your fault. You're not alone. Oh, and yes, you may speak English. You simply need to train your brain to think differently. When I first began to learn English, I could recognize a few words here and there, but I couldn't speak. I could read a sentence. I could write a sentence. But you know when someone said, "How are you?" I didn't know what to say. I felt confused and slow. My brain was not in my language. I was translating every word. And when I finally wrapped my head around what I should have answered, the moment had passed. I felt embarrassed. I felt small. And I thought maybe there was something wrong with my English. But that wasn't true. I was just never taught to talk. We are taught to read and to write in our schools. They give us grammar books. They make us memorize rules. But they don't teach us how to speak. Speaking is different. Speaking is fast. Speaking is real. Speaking is life. You don't have the luxury of thinking about every rule. You don't have the luxury of the perfect word. You do have to say something now, but your brain is scared. It needs everything to be right. It wants you to be perfect. And that's the problem. Most learners are scared to speak up and commit errors. They believe they will be laughed at if they're not perfect. They're worried they will appear ridiculous. So, they stay quiet. They hold out until they're ready. But the reality is, you're never going to feel ready if you don't speak. Your brain learns to speak by speaking, not by waiting, not by only thinking, but instead by repeating the words. The first time I attempted to speak English to a stranger, I was in a shop. I wanted to buy a book. I knew the word book. I could think of the sentence, "I want this." But when I saw the shopkeeper, I got frightened. I forgot everything. I just pointed. He smiled and handed me the book. I felt bad. I wanted to speak. I wanted to use my words. I went home and cried a bit. But that moment changed me. I told myself, next time, I'll say it. And I did. The next time, I managed to say one sentence. The next time, I said two. My words were not perfect. My grammar had mistakes, but I was speaking. And that's what matters. Because when you speak a foreign language, your brain speeds up. With each attempt, you make your fear smaller. When you say something out loud, you gain more conviction. Let me tell you one big truth. You don't need impeccable grammar to speak English. You don't need a large vocabulary. You don't have to sound like a native. You just need to speak. Just one little sentence can be a blast. Even "How are you?" is a victory. So is "My name is Ali." Your brain learns through repetition. The more you talk, the more your brain registers English as normal. So if you get stuck, if you get shy, if you feel like your own mouth won't work, just know you're not alone. Many people feel this way. It's not that you suck at English. What it means is that your brain needs training. The good news is you can train it. You can change it. And together, we will do that in the coming chapters. From now on, I want you to make me one promise. Don't look for the right moment. Not feeling like whispering to someone who speaks to you first. Start speaking now. Even if it's only to yourself. Even if it's just one word. Because that little word can make a big change. Your English brain is holding back. Let's wake it up. Let's train it. Chapter 2. How the brain learns to speak. Your brain is amazing. It can learn anything. It just requires the proper method. When you were a baby, you didn't learn any grammar. You didn't use a textbook. You listened. You copied. You made sounds. And gradually, you began speaking. One word, then two, then full sentences. You made mistakes, but your parents were still smiling. They clapped. They encouraged you. That's how you acquired your first language, naturally. Not by thinking, but by doing. And this is how your brain likes to learn English as well. But now, plenty of learners try to learn a different way. They read big grammar books. They make long lists of vocabulary. They attempt to memorize 50 words a day. But the moment they open their mouths, their mind goes blank. Why? It makes sense. The brain is not a filing cabinet. It's a habit machine. It doesn't want you to recall rules. It wants you to taste the language, to use it, to say it over and over until it's automatic, like walking, like riding a bicycle. And once you train it, there it is, on its own. Think about this. Do you say good morning and halt to translate it in your head? Your brain already knows it. You've heard it before. You've said it so many times. Now it feels natural. This is the secret. Your brain gets good at what it does a lot. That's why the most overused words become your strongest. And those words you never say, your brain forgets them. So if you want to speak English naturally, don't learn all of the words. Just use the ones you need, again and again, in small, daily steps. I remember my own journey. I would write down any new words I came across. My notebook was full, but I couldn't speak. I knew opportunity and determination, but I didn't know, can I help you? I saw that I was acquiring English like a student, not as a speaker. So I changed my way. I started small. I focused on the words I spoke every day. I repeated them out loud. I applied them in very short sentences. I didn't worry about big words anymore. I focused on what I needed. That changed everything. The brain loves patterns. It listens. It copies. It makes connections. Hearing a sentence over and over makes it stick. You repeat a sentence often enough, and your brain doesn't forget it. That's why listening and repeating is so powerful. That's why shadowing works. When you copy the sounds, the rhythm, the emotion, you are charting a new course in your brain, a path that leads to fluency, a road that takes you to speaking without fear. Your brain is also very fond of feelings. If it makes you laugh or cry, you remember it longer. That's why boring classes don't work. That's why English at school doesn't last. But if you see a funny video or a sad story, you know it word for word. Use this. Learn English with something that is close to your heart. A song, a cartoon, a podcast, a short story. Let the language sink into your brain. That's how it grows stronger. You don't need to speak fast. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to show up every day. A little speaking, a little listening, a little thinking in English. That's the way your brain will begin to flip. From learning mode to speaking mode. From sluggish to speed of light translation. You won't even notice it. One day, you'll just open your mouth and say something, and it will occur to you, that wasn't a translation. I just said it. That's the moment we're working toward. So don't worry if it's slow. Don't worry if you forget. Each time you open your mouth, you're working your brain out. Every time you listen, you're feeding your brain. You try every day. You are constructing something solid. Trust your brain. It wants to help you. But you have to train it, as if it's a muscle. Gently, daily, joyfully. Let's keep going. In the next chapter, I'll tell you how to create the habit of speaking, even if you are completely by yourself. No teacher, no friend, nothing but you, your voice, and a fresh English brain ready for the taking. Chapter 3. Build your speaking habit, even if you're alone. I used to believe I needed a teacher to say English things. I thought I needed a partner, someone to talk to, someone to practice with. But most days, I was alone. No teacher, no class, no friend to speak with. I felt stuck. I yearned to talk, but there was no one to listen. I almost gave up. But then I had a new idea. What if I were provided for and I didn't need anyone else? What if I could train myself? So I started small. I looked in the mirror. I said, "Hello." Then I said, "How are you?" I smiled at myself. At first, I felt silly. It felt odd to speak to a mirror, but slowly it became normal. I made it a habit. I said one new sentence every morning. Every night I repeated it. I wasn't waiting for someone to come talk to me. I became my own partner in conversation. And it worked. Speaking alone is powerful. Your brain actually listens to yourself speak. It recalls what it feels like to speak English. The sound, the movement, the emotion. You don't need an audience. You just need to start. You sit there and you can talk to yourself. When you cook, when you walk, when you look in the mirror, just say something. Even one sentence. I am going to the kitchen. I like this shirt. Today is sunny. The little things make a big difference. I also used my phone. I opened the voice recorder. I said a sentence. Then I played it back. I listened to my voice. Initially, I didn't like the sound of my own voice. My English felt strange. But slowly, over time, I began seeing progress. My words became smoother. My voice became stronger. I could hear my own growth, and that gave me hope. It made me hungry for more. I made simple prompts. I wrote them on paper. Tell how your day went. Write about your favorite food. What do you do on weekends? I answered out loud. I didn't think too much. I didn't try to be perfect. I just spoke. One sentence, then two, then more. The more I talked, the more natural it felt. My mind began to comprehend. This is normal now. That's how habits begin. There were hard days, days when I couldn't speak up, days when I was tired or shy. But I made a rule. Just one sentence a day, that's all. No pressure, no stress, just one. And all but one day, I wanted to say more. After that first sentence, I enjoyed it. I felt free. I wasn't afraid to screw up because no one was watching, no one was judging. It was just me and my voice. I also talked to objects. Yes, objects. My cup, my book, my pen. I would say, "This is a cup. The cup is red. I drink tea from this cup." It's silly, but it works. The point, you see, is not to get this all perfect. The goal is to speak, to use English in real life. And real life begins in your room, with your things, with your daily habits. Don't be sad if you're alone. Stop waiting for someone to save you. You have everything you need. You have your voice. You have your mind. You have the will to learn. Speak out loud. Talk to yourself. Record your voice. Make it a habit. One small step every day. That's how big changes occur. And one more thing. Know that fluency is not magic. It is not a gift. It is a habit, a daily practice. Don't make a big promise to yourself. Just say, "I will speak today, even if it's just one line." That promise will serve you well. In the next chapter, I'm going to reveal a secret to you that forever revolutionized my speaking. It's called shadowing. It feels like magic, but it's real, and it can speed up your brain. Are you ready? Chapter 4. The Shadowing Secret. Speak like a native. Shadowing is one of the most effective methods for training your brain to actually speak English. It's really odd at first, but it works like magic. It's how I learned to speak faster, clearer, and more naturally. And now, I want to tell you this secret. Shadowing is the process of listening to a native speaker and talking at the same time. You don't pause. You don't wait. You talk with the voice. It might be a podcast, a video, even a cartoon. You listen and repeat those same words, sound, and tone. You are the actor, and the speaker is your prompter. You attempt to keep pace with their velocity, their rhythm, their spirit. At first, it feels too fast. You miss words. You fall behind. That's okay. Just keep going. I chose a short video when I experimented with it for the first time. It was slow and clear. I played it. I listened. Then I spoke along. My voice was shaking. I missed many words. I couldn't match the speaker, but I didn't stop. I did it again and again. I picked the same video 7 days in a row. I repeated it every day, and something remarkable happened. On the 3rd day, I felt a little better. On the 5th day, I spoke almost simultaneously. On the 7th day, I was able to pronounce every single word perfectly. That was the moment I knew my brain was learning. My brain was changing, and I was not only thinking in English, I was talking. And it felt good. It felt real. I was not reciting from a book. I didn't have a pen and paper. I was talking like a real person, like a native speaker, like someone who chooses to use English in their life. Shadowing trains your tongue. It trains your ears. It also teaches you how native English actually sounds. You listen to the music of the language, the rise and fall, the stress and pause. You're not thinking about grammar. You don't worry about rules. You just feel the language. Your brain listens. Your mouth moves. And gradually, they start collaborating. The best part? You don't need anyone. Just choose a video, put on your earphones, play, listen, speak. That's it. 10 minutes every day. Choose topics you enjoy. Choose speakers you like. And most important of all, opt for things that are not too fast. If it's too difficult, slow down. Use the speed tool. Start small, start slow, but don't stop. I used to shadow on foot. I'd walk in the park with my earphones. I would listen and speak. People looked at me. Some smiled. Some thought I was speaking to another person. But I didn't care. I knew I was training. I was creating something solid. I was training my brain to talk bravely. You will make mistakes. You will mix words. You will forget lines. That's normal. But then you take a second shot, and your brain accelerates. Each time you say it, your voice gets stronger. It's like exercise. The more you do it, the more comfortable you'll be. And one day, you'll speak English without even noticing. That's the power of shadowing. So today, I want you to try it. Choose one video. Listen and speak. Just 5 minutes. No pressure, no fear. Just try. Even if it feels strange, even if it feels hard, your brain will thank you. Your voice will thank you. Your future self will be grateful. Chapter 5. Don't memorize, visualize. And in the next chapter, we're going to go a step further. We're going to discuss how to end the madness of memorizing and start seeing English, because the brain remembers what it sees more than what it reads. And when you see your own words, you begin speaking with power. I used to draw up these lists of English words. I'd write them in my notebook every day. I tried to memorize them. 10 words, 20 words, 50 words. I said them over and over. I assumed this was how you speak English. But a few days later, I no longer remembered them. I just looked at the words and they seemed like strangers. I knew I had remembered these kids from somewhere, but my brain had forgotten. I felt confused. I was feeling like my time was being wasted. And then I discovered something important. Your brain is not good at memorization. Your brain likes to imagine. It likes pictures. It remembers what it sees, what it touches, what it engages with. If I say apple, and you have an image of a red apple in your hand, you remember it. But if all you do is read apple on a page, your brain could not care less. That's why memorization feels tough. This is why most people forget. I changed my method. I stopped writing long lists. I began to close my eyes and visualize the words. When I said book, I was thinking book. I imagined holding it, turning the pages, reading it. When I wrote rain, I could feel the water on my skin. I was listening to the rain. I saw the gray sky. I associated the word with an image. And guess what? I didn't forget the word. It stayed in my mind. It became part of me. You don't have to try to memorize English. You have to actually live it in your mind. Make every word a picture. Make every sentence a story. If you hear the word kitchen, picture your kitchen. What's on the table? What smells are there? What do you do there? Speak about it. I am in the kitchen. I am making tea. The cup is hot. Your brain sees it. Your brain believes it. And now it remembers it. This is how babies learn. They look and feel and listen and stuff like that. They don't read flashcards. They don't make word lists. They gesture to the dog and say dog. They hear the word and they see the thing. That's how they learn. You can do the same. Even as an adult, it's never too late. Your brain can still draw vivid pictures. I began doing this every day. I picked 5 words. I crafted a little story in my mind, with pictures, with action, with emotion. I wake up. I open the window. The sun is bright. I drink water. I feel fresh. I saw it all in my mind. It felt real. It was as if I was living inside English. And gradually, I began to talk better. Not because I had more words at my disposal, but because I remembered them better. You can do this too. When you learn a word, ask yourself, what does it look like? What does it feel like? Can I think about a short film? Here's what you can do to stop forgetting. You want to be training your brain so that words stick, not slide. You can also use your phone's photos or draw or watch videos. Use your senses. Hear the word. Say the word. See the word. Live the word. That's how it becomes real. That's how it gets natural. If you hate learning only to forget, this is the solution. Don't just study English. Visualize it. Feel it. See it. Use it. Bring it into your life. Chapter 6. The Talk, Think, Talk Loop. In the next chapter, you will learn how to train your brain to not overthink. We'll bust the bad psychological habit of thinking before we speak. I can teach you the talk, think, talk method. It's simple, and it changes everything. For a long time, I made one major blunder. I always thought first, then I tried to speak. I wrote and rehearsed every sentence in my head before I was ready to say it. I checked the grammar. I was looking for the appropriate word. And before I could say anything, it was over. The other person was long gone. I was left behind. I felt slow. I felt stuck. I thought I wasn't smart enough to talk fast, but that was not true. The problem, it turned out, was my habit. I was taught to think before I say something. I needed to unlearn it. Most students are taught to think and then speak. But for native speakers, the exact opposite is true. They talk, then think, then they talk again. They are speaking from the heart, without mulling things over. That's what conversation does. It's fast. It flows. It's time for us to take a few little pauses among all of this. Simple language, is it? People don't speak perfectly. They just speak. And that is the lesson I needed to learn. I had to build a new loop in my brain. I have called it talk, think, talk. The idea is simple. First, you speak. Then you pause to think. Then you speak again. You don't hold off until the entire sentence is just right. You just begin. You say something small like, I want to. You pause. Your brain catches up. Then you go on. I'm hungry. And perhaps later you tack on others. I want to eat rice today. That's just how human speech goes. It's not one perfect line. It's built step by step. I began doing this every day. I allowed myself to not achieve perfection. I said small things. I go shop. Then I paused. I thought, I go to the shop, then more. I go to the shop to get bread. I did not judge myself, I just talked. Then I thought, then I talked more. My speaking became natural. My brain stopped freezing. The fear began to disappear. This loop functions by decreasing pressure. When you think too much before you speak, you brain yourself. You feel nervous. You try to be perfect, and that slows you down. But when you talk first, even if it's not all that eloquent, your brain preps itself. It starts to move. It starts to find words. And once it's on, it is non-stop. That's how fluency grows. You can try this anywhere. Talk to yourself. Say anything. Start with small lines. I like... Pause. I like music. Add more. In the morning, I like music. Keep going. You do not need to use big words. You only have to open your mouth. Move your mind. Let the words trickle in, one by one. I also recorded myself. I said short phrases. Then I listened. Each time I got a little bit better. I didn't get off track after one mistake. I just tried again. Sometimes I used a timer. I allowed myself 30 seconds to speak about a single topic. I didn't plan. I just spoke. I used the words I knew, and each time I was a little less nervous. Your aim is not to learn it 100%. Your target is how English feels. Forget the touch for now. Your objective is to keep the conversation flowing, even if it's slow, even if it's simple. You can say, I don't know the word. You can say, let me think. Those are genuine English expressions. Use them. They buy you time. They keep you in the know. Remember, talk first, then think, then talk again. That trains your brain to remain addicted. It keeps you speaking. It stops the silence. It gives you rhythm. And soon enough, you will notice you're going to start talking more. You're thinking less, and your sentences are welling up, spooling out. Chapter 7. Mistakes are tools, not failures. In the next chapter, we will talk about something that worries many students, errors. But I'm going to show you the truth. Mistakes are not your enemy. They are your best teacher. And when you do change how you feel about them, your English will progress faster than ever before. I used to be terrible at making errors. Every time I made one, I felt like a little tiny person. I felt like I failed. I wanted to hide. I wanted to be invisible. I was like, if I trip, people are going to laugh. They will think I'm stupid. They'll offer me the correction in an impolite manner. So, I stopped speaking. I stayed quiet. I waited until I was speaking perfectly. But that day never came. It only got more and more difficult the longer I waited. I was stuck. But then something happened. I was talking to a friend. I said a sentence. I said it wrong. I used the wrong verb. I saw her smile, not even in a bad way, in a nice way. She corrected me gently. She said, "It's okay. You're learning. Try again." I did, and I said it right. That tiny instant altered everything. There was one huge truth I realized. When you make mistakes, it doesn't mean you're finished. They are the beginning. If you would like to train your brain to speak English fluently, you have to accept mistakes. You must welcome them. Smile when you make them. Learn from them. Speak again. That is how fluency is built, not by being perfect, but by being fearless. I began to act differently. I made a mistake notebook. When I messed up, I wrote it in my notes. I wrote the wrong sentence. Then I wrote the right one. I reviewed it every week. And guess what happened? I quit repeating those same mistakes. I made new ones, but not the old ones. That's called learning. Speak even if you're not sure of what you're saying. Talk even when you are nervous. Say the wrong word. Use the wrong tense. It doesn't matter, because the more you talk, the better you get. You don't need perfect English to talk. You need courage. You need honesty. You need action. Those who learn quickly are not the smartest. They're the ones who try hardest. They make the most mistakes. They laugh at themselves. They grow. You can be that person too. So don't hide from mistakes. Don't run from them. Run toward them. Every mistake I make is a step forward, you tell yourself. You say, mistakes are my friends, because they are. We will go further into your heart from here. I'll demonstrate how talking about your actual feelings, not the canned lines you hear, can transform how you speak. When you are speaking from your heart, your words arrive more quickly, more naturally, more powerfully. Let's unlock that next. Chapter 8. Emotional Practice. Speak what you feel. When I began speaking English, I learned what most learners do. Hello, how are you? My name is Alex. These were easy. I practiced them many times. But after that, I was at a loss for words. I didn't know how to put into words what I was really feeling. I wanted to say, I am nervous today, or I am happy because I have passed my exam. But sentences like those, they didn't come out. I was stuck again. Not because I couldn't find words. The problem was, I didn't know how to speak from the heart. Eventually, one day, my friend said to me, "How are you feeling today?" I wanted to say, "I'm tired. I wasn't sleeping well last night." But I couldn't. I said, "I'm fine." It was not true. I didn't feel fine. But I didn't know how to express my actual feelings. And I realized something crucial in that moment. To speak English, it is not enough to know the grammar or the rules. It's also about emotions, real emotions. The human brain remembers better when it feels something. When you express what you feel, it stays in your heart. You don't forget them. If you are sad, say it. I feel sad today. If you are excited, say it. I'm looking forward to the weekend. These are not large, hard sentences. They are simple, but they are true. And when you tell the truth, you talk in your natural voice. I began doing this daily. I looked at myself in the mirror and wondered, how am I feeling? I answered in English. Some days I said, I feel fine. Some days I'd say, I'm feeling tired. I'm afraid, I said some days. And gradually, the words from my heart came. I learned to say, I'm nervous for my test, or I feel lonely today. And then something remarkable happened. My English began to come alive. Alive. Not just words, but my words. You can do this too. Be more interesting than the weather. I like apples is fine, but say how you feel. Start small. Try. Music makes me feel happy, or I'm angry when people do not listen to me. These are honest sentences. Your brain latches onto them, and the words are true because they're easy to say. I jotted down how I felt in a notebook. I used short sentences. I wrote lines like this. At this moment, I feel tired. I didn't want to study, but I did it. I am proud of myself. Writing helped me think. I read my words later out loud. That helped me speak. Seeing how I was feeling, in English, was empowering to me. Don't worry about mistakes. Feelings are never wrong. Your heart doesn't follow a grammar rule. If you need to say, I feel bad, say it. If you want to say, I love you, say it. Let the emotions speak. The more you talk about your actual life, the more you're practicing your English. And let me tell you a little secret. When you express feelings in English, people listen a bit better. They feel closer to you. They understand you better, because you are not simply speaking English. You are speaking you. Try this today. Ask yourself this one question. What am I feeling right now? Then answer in English. Say it out loud. Write it. Whisper it. Feel it. Let the words flow from your heart, not just your head. In the next section, I will reveal something powerful to you, how to practice English all day, even if you're not studying. I will show you how to train your memory without any books, without stress, and without a coach. Your brain never stops learning, even in silence. Let's use that power. Chapter 9. Practice without practice. Daily brain tricks. I believed before that English was learned only during study time. I thought I had to sit with a book or watch a lesson to get better. But then I noticed something. The more I listened, the better I spoke. On the days when I really maintained good flow, the days I thought in English, it was clearer to me, faster. I was learning even when I wasn't studying. I came to understand. Your mind is always ticking, even when you are not trying. That was a big discovery. I didn't need more hours. I just needed smarter habits. So I started doing small things. I set my phone to English. At first I was confused, but soon I got used to it. English words would leap out at me whenever I opened my phone. Messages, settings, battery. I didn't study them. I just kept seeing them again and again. My brain recalled them without strain. It became normal, like breathing. I started to think in English too. Not all the time, just little thoughts. Instead of saying to myself, I said, I'm going to drink water. Instead of, I said, this looks good. No one heard me, but my brain did. And little by little, those small thoughts turned into actual sentences.